The Kalrathi Empire had no use for the broken dot. Sarah stood at the edge of the departure platform, her silver skin dulled by shame, her four-fingered hands clutching a small satchel containing everything she was permitted to keep. Behind her, the crystalline spires of her homeworld gleamed in the triple sunset, beautiful and utterly indifferent to her fate. The Council's judgment had been swift and absolute. Infertile females were genetic dents, unworthy of resources in a civilization that measured worth by reproductive contribution. You have 20 minutes before the transport leaves for the human colony, the enforcer said, his voice devoid of sympathy. Be grateful they accepted you at all. Sira said nothing. What was there to say? In Kalrathi society, she was already dead. The human colony of New Terra was nothing like the pristine perfection of her homeworld. It was messy, loud, and chaotic. Frontier settlement where a dozen species lived in cramped quarters, working the mining operations that fueled the quadrant's economy. Sira had been assigned a small habunit and a job in the processing plant. No one welcomed her. No one seemed to care that she'd once been a genetic scientist, that she'd had hopes and dreams before the diagnosis that shattered her world. She was alone in a way that transcended species. For 3 months, Sira kept her head down, worked her shifts, and spoke to no one. The humans puzzled her. They were inefficient, emotional, and seemingly incapable of organizing themselves properly. Yet somehow, the colony functioned. More than functioned, it thrived in its chaotic way. It was on a cold evening, as Sira walked back from her shift, that she first noticed the child, a human girl, no more than 7 or 8 by Sira's estimation, sat on the steps of a nearby habunit. She was drawing something in the dust with a stick, her dark hair falling across her face. But what caught Sira's attention wasn't the child. It was the exhaustion in the man watching her from the doorway. Jordan McKay was human, broad-shouldered and weathered in the way veterans often were. Sira had learned to recognize the type, men and women who'd seen too much, survived when they shouldn't have, and carried invisible scars that never quite healed. He leaned against the doorframe, a datapad in one hand, his eyes soft as he watched his daughter play. Sira walked past them every evening for a week before. Jordan spoke to her. You're Kalrathi, right? He called out one night. His voice was rough but not unkind. Sarah stopped, surprised. Yes, I'm Jordan. This is Taylor. He gestured to the girl who looked up with curious brown eyes. You walk past here every night. Figured it was time we at least said hello. Hello, Sira replied stiffly, uncertain of the protocol. Jordan smiled a tired smile, but genuine. You eat yet? I made too much stew, human food, but it's not bad. Sira should have declined. Kalrathi didn't accept charity, but something in Jordan's expression, the absence of pity, the simple human warmth made her hesitate. I have not eaten, she admitted. Then come on in. That night changed everything. Jordan's habunit was small but warm, filled with Taylor's drawings and the comfortable disorder of a life being actively lived. Over bowls of stew, Sarah learned that Jordan was a widower. His wife had died in a transport accident 2 years prior. He worked double shifts at the mining operation while trying to raise Taylor alone. He was drowning, though he'd never admit it. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, he confessed, scrubbing a hand through his graying hair. I can feel a plasma rifle blindfolded, but I can't braid her hair right. And the homework, God, the homework they give these kids now. Taylor giggled from her corner where she was showing Sira her collection of drawings. Look, the girl said, holding up a picture. That's Daddy fighting the bad aliens. And that's him saving everyone. Jordan's expression darkened for just a moment before he forced a smile. That's real good, sweetheart. Sarah understood then. Jordan was a hero to his daughter but felt like a failure as a father. It was a peculiarly human contradiction. She began visiting regularly. At first, she told herself it was merely companionship, a respite from loneliness. But as weeks turned to months, Sira found herself drawn deeper into their lives. She helped Taylor with homework, her scientific mind making the complex simple. She prepared meals using Kalrathi efficiency combined with human flavors. She organized Jordan's chaotic schedule, helped him manage his finances, and listened when the nightmares made sleep impossible. And somewhere along the way, she realized something extraordinary. She was happy. The mining colony's administrator called her into his office on a routine day 6 months after her arrival. We've received a communication from the Kalrathi Council, he said, his expression carefully neutral. They've developed a new treatment. You're no longer classified as infertile. They want you back. Sarah stared at him, her heart's pounding in asynchronous rhythm. Back, full restoration of status, compensation, the works. You'd be going home. Home. The word felt hollow, she thought, of crystalline spires and genetic perfection, of a society that had measured her worth in reproductive cells and found her wanting. She thought of the cold efficiency of a civilization that had discarded her without a second thought. Then she thought of Taylor's laughter, of Jordan's tired smile, of chaotic dinners where food was spilled and stories were shared. She thought of being needed not for what her body could produce, but for who she was. No, Sierra said quietly. The administrator blinked. No, I am home, she said, the human word feeling right in her mouth. Tell them I decline. That evening, when she told Jordan and Taylor, the little girl threw her arms around Sierra's waist. You're staying, Taylor squealed. You're really staying. Jordan met Sierra's eyes over his daughter's head. In that look was gratitude, understanding, and something deeper, something that transcended species and circumstance. Come with me, Jordan had said that first night, offering a simple meal. But he'd really offered something far more precious, a place to belong, and Sierra, cast out as broken by her own people, had found something the Kalrathi Empire would never understand. Among humans, these chaotic, inefficient, impossibly kind humans, she'd found family. She'd found home,